The Gridiron is sponsored by Anna Marie's. If it ain't Anna Marie's, it ain't breakfast.
Welcome to this week's edition of The Gridiron. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. Springford opened up pack play with a 28-22 defeat at Perkiomen Valley. Coach, we talked about last week on the show, week of first, now let's put three losses in a row right here. We're not going to quite hit the panic button, that sort of thing. But before we get into the game, I'm sure, we've talked about, how the past year and a half has been different, that must have been part of it. It was nice to see a high school football atmosphere like it was there on Friday night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was great. It's easier to do these shows after wins.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
No one's pressing the panic button, but there certainly is, we have to work hard to run the table to finish 7-3. So that's the goal week by week, is to get to the playoffs. I think the District 1 playoffs are going to be wide open. I think seeding's going to be less of an issue. I think there are some teams that are a little above everybody else, but I think probably 3 through 16 is going to be wide open. So seeding's always a crapshoot. Who you match up with, and playoffs is largely about that. It's largely about matchups. But I think that ultimately our goal now is to make the playoffs and see what we can do from there.
Right, and like you said, you're going to have to run the table through the rest of your pack games plus the crossover. Another loss probably going to eliminate you from being a chance to get in that top 16.
It will be tough.
And there's that little hope that you're hoping those teams from District 3 you've played early kind of find a way to win some games that can help you out as the season goes on.
And that's why we do that, because if we played other teams in District 1 who have common opponents with us, we don't get those points.
Yep.
And the other part of that is, when you play teams in your league, it's always 50-50.
Sure.
Half the teams are going to win, half the teams are going to lose. So those non-league games become really, really important in terms of seeding. And we hope they're really successful going forward.
Well, I'm glad you guys have talked kind of have a plan of attack to what you see. Once again, things still to accomplish this year. All right, let's get back to the game. Let's talk about PV. You get down 14-0. You find a way to bounce back, and then they kind of surge and score a couple touchdowns, kind of almost seal the game a little bit, get ahead of you there. Let's, number one, talk about, do you feel like you finally maybe got the running game going a little bit this week? I know Harry had a big game yardage-wise for you a little bit out there, and I know you kind of been struggling talking about, getting the run game going and, feeling good about that. But that was really kind of what got you going back into the game.
Yeah, we'll start with the first half. I think I've said it on here before. Right now, and any time, but right now, it's very difficult for us to overcome mistakes. And we had 3 penalties in the first half on drives that were drive killers. Mm-hmm. We were driving. The one time we had the ball down on their 10, got called back for a lineman downfield, a legitimate call. We got a questionable, unsportsmanlike, that probably should have been offsetting at the very least. I didn't even think it was to the level of receiving a penalty, but if it was, and I'm not disputing whether it was by our kid or not, it should have been, when you're surrounded by 3 guys taunting you, that should be offsetting. That was another drive killer. And then we had an offensive pass interference call in the first half where, again, we had the ball inside the 25 down to the 21 and got an offensive pass interference call that you didn't have to explain that to me. A lot of high school teams are not good enough to overcome 15-yard penalties and get in 2nd and 3rd and 20. And we're no exception to that right now. But those were just huge drive killers for us. And our kicker, Sam Herman, is injured right now, and that's hurt us as well.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different things, and we're trying different combinations of things, and we're going to, it's going to be figured out, but every time we feel like we have something figured out, we have another injury, we have to move kids around, and that's just something that, we have to deal with. All those things kind of add up. They're little things, but they kind of add up and make it difficult. But to answer your question.
Yeah, thanks. That's all I was going to be like, maybe we'll actually answer the question there. But
no, it was nice to see our running game get rolling a little bit in the second half. Still some things to tweak, and make sure we're not missing assignments. Harry ran hard. We'd like to see him not bounce it and stay up inside. There were a couple times, that he bounced it. But yeah, I think we're moving definitely in the right direction. And the goal is to get, as good as we can be come the end of the season, and hopefully make playoffs and be in full stride then.
Okay, so I guess some other questions people might want out there from the game is that we saw a little bit more of your freshman quarterback in the game out there. Is it was just trying to jolt the team, trying to get something going? I mean, I saw you said afterwards, Freed's still our guy that moving forward, but I guess are we going to see more of package stuff, or is it going to be maybe like what you see in college where like the starter gets 2 drives and then you give the other guy, and then you're like, I guess, what's your approach with Zollers here moving forward?
Sure. Listen, Matt has an unbelievable upside and has he has a skill set, and he can do some things that some other guys can't in terms of his arm and whatnot. But we never want to throw somebody to the wolves. We've been bringing him along slowly. We expect a lot of our quarterbacks, and he manufactured a nice drive at the end of the game, and he also scored on a 2-point conversion that was kind of a broken play, and just was able to athletically get in the end zone. So you'll be seeing more of Matt. Ryan has done a tremendous job for us, and he's going to continue to be on the field as well. So it's something that we're going to have to work out. Again, that's kind of along the same lines as what we were saying about the offensive line and guys getting injured and moving guys around and tweaking things. That's our goal, is to figure all of that out by the time playoffs comes, and who gives us the best shot to win. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, you've talked about on the show, like, just prepare when teams do something, you got to spend time, you got to prepare for. Now you're showing other teams you're playing 2 quarterbacks, and when this guy's in, we got to prepare for this. When this guy's in, we got it. So I think, take another spin on it that way too, it's more for the other team that they got to get ready for as well,
and
too.
And the other thing is, armchair quarterbacks.
Me? You're talking about me?
I didn't say anybody in particular, but armchair quarterbacks or people in the stands think that playing quarterback is one thing. It's about arm strength, and it's not. There's a million different things that go into it. And our offense, like I said, we ask our quarterback to do a lot. He's got to make checks. He's got to set the protection. He's got to identify, if we're reading a player or, all those things. So it's not just, trying to throw a ball through a brick wall. Mm-hmm. And Matt is a smart kid and has been coming on and learning every day. And so, even on Friday night, there were some times, he got hit a number of times, and to his credit, stayed in the pocket. But he could have set the protection a little bit differently, and he will going forward. When you get hit a couple times, you start to, I got to figure this out. So he will, be fine. But there's all these little things that go into being a quarterback that are important.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So before we do highlights here, I think also, not a common theme, but I think the past 2 games, I mean, the best player on the field has kind of shown his way to the field. The receiver from Mannheim, I think Kohler would prove that he was the best player on the field. He made the most plays out there. Yeah. And sometimes, like you say, you just got to tip your cap and say, okay, good job, and you move on, and, you prepare and you get ready for the next week too.
Yeah, if you look back, the frustrating thing about these 3 games is, in all 3 of them, you can maneuver your way around what happened and say, we should have won the game.
Right.
And, that's a tough thing. Like, some people say they'd rather get beat 40-0 than 22-21. I don't really understand that. Like, I get that if it's 40-0, you say, well, they were just better than us. But that's the challenge of coaching. And we take a lot of pride in winning closer games, or beating teams that people say on paper are better than us. And so, you look back at that game and there's a lot of different things, again, we weren't able to overcome. Our defense, and we'll get to that in a little bit, I'm sure, but our defense just played amazingly, despite some things that, we felt that there were some holding calls that were missed, but our kids still made plays. And again, it's really hard to overcome that. They, for the most part, did. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, whatever, take any sport sometime. Listen, this guy shows up, he's the best player on the field. Okay, good job. You know what I mean? You did your job, you did your role, and that's going to equal W's.
And obviously, his running ability
is a whole new dynamic for him, and
hurt us more so than throwing.
Yeah. All right, Coach, good stuff right there. Let's check out the offensive highlights from Springford, Perkiomen Valley.
Offensive highlights are sponsored by What's Hot? Cards and Collectibles.
So we came out in the second half and
we jumbo a little bit.
Well, we call it Marine, but basically we bring in an extra lineman. We go double tight with a fullback and tailback.
And there's Harry for the first touchdown, get you guys on the board.
He does a good job here of seeing them over pursue and hits the backside hole on this and gets into the end zone. Later in the game, this was actually in the first half. Or was it in the first half? Yeah, I think this was. I tried to reorder these, but just a throw over the top. And this is where we've been struggling. This we got, but we've been struggling to
and that's good coverage there, too. I know we didn't see that angle, but, that's the only spot you can throw that ball, too.
But we struggled in when we've had the opportunities to make big plays. We haven't, put the ball where it needs to be and some of those things. This was a really this is in the first half, too. This was a really good job.
Looks like he comes off his first read here, too, right, Coach? Or
no,
he's looking where he's going the whole time.
Colton Kashira actually ran like we call a whip cream route where we're trying to run a whip and get the guy to over pursue on the out and then turn back up the field. This is Matt Zollers throwing a slant to Peyton West.
Makes the guy miss.
Again, if he sets the protection the other way, he doesn't get hit here. But to his credit, he stayed right in the pocket, delivered the ball, and then Peyton made a guy miss and got in the end zone. And this is our other touchdown. Again, this was the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Kind of just power look, whatever.
Again, that Marine look where we brought in an extra lineman. So you see there we have an extra lineman on the right. We have a tight end on both sides. We have a fullback, and we just get up in there and get our 4 yards for the touchdown. So it's one of those things. We left scoring opportunities on the table in the first half. Again, without our kicker, our primary kicker, some of those we might have had field goal opportunities, but we have to find ways to overcome calls that go against us and get first down. So.
All right, Coach, good stuff right there. We'll be back. You want to stick around for this next part of the show?
Yeah, I have some time.
Okay, sounds good. All right, make sure you stay tuned through commercial break, and we will go over the defensive highlights from Springford, Perkiomen Valley.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Hey!
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders and the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Welcome back to the Gridiron. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, before we do defensive highlights, announcement time. I am missing my trusty piece of paper, as I always have. Some people will also notice that the kids are like, you click your pen a lot. I go, yeah, it's just kind of like a nervous titch, that sort of thing for me. Number one, RCTV is bringing the game to you guys this Friday. So if you're at home, you can check it out on the YouTube.
There you go.
Make sure you subscribe to the RCTV YouTube channel so you can see that if you can't make it out to Coach McNally on Friday night. And I believe the cheerleaders got something. They're selling some things in the school here, right?
Yeah, they're doing a pink out on Friday night.
Okay.
So they're doing, I think they're selling T-shirts to the student body.
Okay.
And yeah.
I saw maybe I even saw one of those there's some pink headbands that are going. You can buy that too. You didn't see that on the social network.
I did not.
Okay, I think that's available somewhere too. But obviously, October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so you can. That's the whole point. I think what's going on with that right there. Anything on football announcement wise? Same old.
No. I think we're good.
I've heard. Have you brought back the Teacher of the Week thing? Is it back in?
Yeah, we've always been doing that. We just didn't do it because of COVID last year.
Yeah. So it's been back this year. You've had some teachers participate. How's that going?
It's good. Our first one we did this year was our last home game against Township, and Mr. Landis was the Teacher of the Week, and he stopped by. He's all the way at the other end of the building, but he took time out of his day, came up and thanked me. Said it was an awesome experience. Being on the sideline, and he ate with us in pregame, so it was a pretty cool thing.
All right, some cool stuff right there. All right, so let's talk defense here. You talked about it in the first segment. Once again, outstanding effort. I feel like if you talk to anybody on that defensive staff, they were really proud of the effort. It was a nonstop effort for that defense all night long. Yeah, did they give up 28 points? But it was just every play it felt like you saw the phrases like they're just playing so hard, giving their all. That sort of coach talk stuff.
Yeah, they did an outstanding job again, and they have all year. We are undersized. We moved. We've had some injuries, and for instance.
Don't steal my questions. Here, all right?
Mike Bendowski was very willing to go down and play defensive tackle from his linebacker spot, and his first game. He did that last year in playoffs. But he was just willing to do that and did an outstanding job. The defensive line, Zach Zollers, Luke Pajovich, Mike that I said, and Gavin Shafer just did an awesome job. They did a tremendous job, and like I said, we were a little disappointed that we didn't get some what I would call blatant holding calls. That would have taken them out of drives or would have put them in real tough spots, especially that last touchdown. And maybe they would have kicked a field goal. But, the last touchdown, and I made my opinion. We were informing them the whole game, but I did, call timeout and make my opinion known. On that last series.
Sure, yeah. Listen,
it was very frustrating. Our kids, they're standing there with their shoulder pads out and, just adamant, So, we try to defend our players. That's my job. I tell them, you don't say anything, but they just did an awesome job. And the secondary did a nice job. The only thing, there were a couple plays where Kohler made plays with his legs where we missed tackles.
Yeah.
And so that would be the only thing.
We've talked about that the past couple of weeks. It's just been kind of the running quarterback has kind of been what the bugaboo's been.
Got us a couple times. Yeah.
And you hear, once again, it's not just in high school level. You talk about, whatever the Alabama used to be. What got Alabama was the running mobile quarterback, that sort of thing too. So it's just when you got to defend the pass, which obviously these past couple quarterbacks can do, and then they have the ability to beat with feet. It's just that extra variable that's really tough for defenses.
And it's also, demoralizing when you have, you have them in a bad down and distance spot for them, and you have everybody covered, and the quarterback runs 11 yards for a first down. Like, that's demoralizing.
Yeah.
Everybody did his job, and you know that Ethan does a tremendous job. He's a good quarterback. Like he's been around the block. He knows
what he's doing out there.
He's like Farmers Insurance. He's seen a few things.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
So he knows what he's doing.
All right. So once again here, PV credit, all kudos to them. But this team is battling some injuries. Your team is, and talk about like how tough is it to set your depth chart week to week? You know what I mean? Like you got guys that are injured, then you're plugging this guy here, you're moving this guy there. I mean, how much conversation, how much time are you guys as a staff saying, all right, well, we got to put a guy in here, or we at least got to give this guy reps here in case this guy can't go? Like, talk about that aspect of practice.
Unfortunately, it's the first topic of our staff meeting on a Sunday night. Okay. So, Gage Swanger was dinged up. So Bilal Abdul-Rahman played some at safety. Other guys were moving around. Like I said, Mike Bendowski started at defensive tackle. And then the offensive line, we literally had a new starter at tackle. Our tackle moved to guard. Our guard moved to center. And there was another player that we thought would at least, alternate series that got hurt on Thursday before the game. So, it's tough in football, when you have a rash of injuries all at the same time. Depth for every program is an issue, and it's tough to overcome. But that's again,
part of the deal. Is what you got to do.
We have to overcome calls. We have to overcome injuries. We have to overcome that stuff. We weren't able to do that the last 3 weeks, and the goal going forward is to start to work through some of those things. Get guys healthy, of course, too, is going to help tremendously. But yeah,
it's crazy how we've talked about how things go from high school but teams that literally can stay healthy and keep their ones out there. I mean, it's just going to have more success. It's crazy how the turnover. It's just crazy how all that stuff happens in all levels of football. Like when teams that are take a professional football team. If they got guys injured, their probability of making the playoffs just goes dramatically down, So.
Yeah, especially at, everybody notices the quarterbacks and the receivers and the running backs.
Those linemen are huge.
Like the Eagles last year, I think they didn't start the same offensive line.
And when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they played the same offensive line all year, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Coach. Notice me taking notice of football. Every once in a while I
get a nice job.
Every once in a while I get something right. All right, let's check out the defensive highlights from Springford, Perkiomen Valley.
Defensive highlights are sponsored by What's Hot, Cards and Collectibles.
All right, they ran a little toss play here. You see, we did a good job of getting hats to the ball, like we say. There's a great view of this play. Luke Pajovich and Mike Bendowski doing a nice job there and letting the linebackers get up to the back. Watch Gavin Shafer here. Gavin Shafer at defensive end just does an awesome job. This is a tremendous job. This is exactly how you teach it. He reacts to the reach block. He reacts to the running back coming at him, and he strings the play out, and we make the play.
Here they are trying to run inside either, nothing going.
Right. Zach Zoller's on this play, does a nice job, comes down. All right, the running back is forced to cut back right into him. Here's another, that's, who was that? Oh, that was Will Fish. You see Will Fish at the right of your screen there, and Will knifes through and makes this play, beats that block and gets into the backfield. Nice job. And there's Mike Bendowski again as well.
They're trying to go short.
Yeah, this was a big play in the first half. It was 4th and 1, and they tried to run a quarterback sneak. And that's just a testament to the guys in there. You see Mike Bendowski did a great job. Although he's standing up a little tall, all right, he's still knifed through there. Actually, it was Pajovich, I think. Both of them, really.
Yeah.
Just did a nice job there. And we stopped them, and that was a huge momentum play. Obviously, we couldn't fall behind 21-0 in the first half, and they held.
All right, so you had a homework assignment. Just see how well you did. Did you ask the PV coach, is he a watcher of Gridiron? Remember you said you were going to start asking the other coaches if they watch. So you Looks like you didn't do your homework is what your reaction
I don't
there
recall
tells.
having that conversation.
Okay, yeah, maybe you can remember this week.
I'll
like
try.
Are the other, are they checking to see what we're talking about on the show?
Maybe.
All right, Coach. One more break. We got to preview next game. All right.
Okay.
Boardtown Bears.
Boardtown Bears.
All right. Make sure you stay tuned through the commercial break as we preview the game with Boardtown.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
but I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad. That's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Welcome back to the Gridiron. I'm your host, John Brennan. Look what I got. Got my paper, got my pen. I'm all happy here, so we can go do this last segment here. All right, Coach, let's preview the game with the Boardtown Bears. If I remember, real close to you guys in the district standings right here, so good opportunity to start building some points and finding a way to get a win. And if I remember doing this show, they kind of give you a little bsome everything on offense, right?
Well, what they want to do is they want to run midline and veer. They do they do some eye stuff where they're running toss and counter, and they're actually in shotgun some of the times. So they are doing a little bit more offensively. I think we know that the key is stopping their midline veer game, and option game. That's what we want to stop first and foremost.
And once again, you would hear defensive staff being like, this is a whole new week. Stuff we haven't done, stuff we haven't seen. And
right.
Once again, a lot of teaching in a very short amount of time.
Coach Mick's anxiety level is through the roof. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
But, so you have to play, we talked about this before, assignment football. One of the things that we do in practice to practice against an option team, a triple option team, is we don't use a football. And what that does is because option football makes your eyes lie to you, right? Oh, he has the ball, and you start running up, and the quarterback goes down the sideline. So we try to practice without a ball in these situations and make guys run to their assignment, trust the guy behind you that he's going to do his thing, you do your thing, and take it away. So, it does present some worries because, we don't see it a lot. There's not very many 6A teams in the state that run, midline, veer, read option. Mm-hmm. I mean, they do run read option, but straight option. There's not a lot of 6A teams that do that, so it's tough.
Okay. All right, Coach, let's check out Boardtown on offense here.
Upcoming highlights are sponsored by XPO Business Equipment.
So here's just a toss. They use their fullback at tailback and tailback at fullback, and
they got the same camera guy.
So
we got
fast.
Here?
No, we have a good camera guy.
Sorry.
Mike Engro.
Sorry,
Mike
my bad.
Great,
I was just things I
Mike
feel like
Engro's
I missed
a
the end of the
great
play
camera guy. So here you see him in the shotgun. This is something that they haven't done a whole lot of in the past, and you can see nice little slant route and hit him in stride for about a 20-yard gain. Here we go with option. All right, so that's,
he's unaccounted for essentially in this play.
Well, he should be.
But he's not. Like I'm saying,
he wasn't. He wasn't. So, and again, there's just, they're in shotgun.
Hitch,
they can throw, and they turn that into 11, 12-yard gain on a simple hitch. Again, here's going to be, they're in I, so they can do their midline. They
Looks
can
like
do
they
their
fake
option.
to the fullback there and go the opposite way with the.
It's a counter play, and so they have some things that they have kind of expanded their offense, from just veer and midline. So it presents some problems.
A little bit of everything, looks
Yeah,
like.
a little bit of this, a little bit of
that. All right, let's check. Before we check it out, talk to us about the Boardtown defense.
They're also multiple on defense. So they played, I think their base, they want to be in 4-3, but they've also played 4-4, and they've also played 3-4. So, again, when teams play multiple fronts up front on the offensive line, we have to know what our concepts are, and we have to adjust to the different fronts. And, again, that can be challenging at times. So we have a lot on our plate on both sides of the ball.
You should just put on repeat that line about multiple fronts and like the offensive line. Like we've used that.
Well, listen,
we've used it a lot. I'm not saying.
Yeah, no. When I was in high school, and when older guys like us were in high school, teams weren't very multiple. Like
they did the same thing. And
every play, and they did the same thing on offense. And like, I wish I knew what I know today and could take that back and go against a team that just sat in one thing. But that's not the case. So, teams recognize with more spread offenses, you have to be multiple and you have to show teams different looks. And they're doing it. So,
all right, Coach, let's check out Boardtown on defense.
Upcoming highlights are sponsored by XPO Business Equipment.
So O&J's in a spread set there. They run inside zone.
Nothing go.
And the linebacker, I think it was the linebacker that knifed through on there. Here they're in a 4-3. You see that middle linebacker. They don't block the defensive end very well, and he makes the play. All right, now they're in a 3. I didn't even see, but I think they were in an odd front there.
Instant pressure, though.
Yeah. And now they're back into a 4-3. All right, so, they do a nice job there, and they're going after the ball,
tackling.
trying to pull the ball out. Again, in a 4-3 set, they're bringing this outside linebacker.
Ooh!
Looked like and the Mike, but they didn't block the defensive end, and he makes a pretty nice play there.
That's a really nice play right there. All right, Coach. Well, you look like you guys got your hands full Friday night.
Yeah.
All right, and Coach, then it also looks in the schedule. It's 2 road games after that.
After that, yeah.
Yeah, right. So schedule's not kind to the Rams, it looks like right now.
Well, it's nice to be back home this Friday, and it's Father's VIP night, so we'll have the fathers come in and
Well, you missed that in the announcement part. It just came to you now.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
So we'll have the fathers in with us and pregame meal, and they get to go through our walkthrough with us and write a little note to their son that we'll hand out in the locker room right before the game. So.
All right, because the next time after this Friday, you're not home all the way till homecoming then too. So.
That's true.
Yeah. So all right.
Yeah.
So best of luck to you and the crew on Friday night. Make sure you tune in next week as we recap the game with Boardtown. For the head coach Chad Brubaker, I'm John Brennan. See you next time on the Gridiron.